Look at all that stuff here. It's like cooking in concert.
It certainly is, and being a cook is very much like being a great orchestra conductor, of blending everything into a marvelous cacophony. Would you call it that?
Yes. So we're going to conduct two great dishes for you today. A classic pot roast, a braised piece of beef.
And a famous beef burgundy. Well, let's get started.
Yes. Happy cooking.
Bon appetit.
We're cooking a large piece of meat today.
Certainly. How much does that weigh, do you think?
Oh, this is about 15, 17 pounds, something like this. And it does take a long time to cook, but it's not really much work.
No.
Right? You put it to cook. The pot roast with that, this is part of the bottom round. And the bottom
Now,
round...
where the bottom round? Show.
The bottom round is the lower part of the leg here.
Yes, good. I think it's nice for us.
Yes.
It's nice for us to know about where they come from.
And there is two pieces. There is another piece here, that which is long this way, which is called the eye round. And sometimes for pot roast, you take the eye round or that part which is called the flat. I like that one better. And we're going to cut a piece about 5 pounds.
Which will serve,
look at that. This
will that serve
quite lean. That would take 10 people, yes, in those areas. Yes. And what I'd like to do is to take most of the fat out of it and to brown it nicely all around into one of those heavy, this is enamel cast iron, and those type of pots you can bring from the stove to the table, it's nice.
And they cost a fortune now.
They cost money. Now, can I borrow a bit of your oil?
You may indeed.
So you want to put just a little bit of vegetable oil to brown it. And in fact, by the time it's finished browning it, I will pour whatever excess fat there is, I will pour it out. So we continue cleaning that up. It has to cook what we call braisé,
Well, braise means that you brown it first and then you cook it in a liquid. And this is the method that you use for tough pieces of meat, like the leg and the shoulder and so forth. And it's a lovely way of cooking because the liquid and the meat exchange flavors. And it takes you quite a while with this is tough. This will take, heavens, several hours, but it's unsupervised cooking. You can start it, go out and play tennis, and come back, and it may be done.
That's it, or burn. No, it will be done. Okay, I'm going to put a dash of salt and black pepper around and start browning that all around into my big cocotte there.
And so
what
now
are we doing on this side?
We're going to do the beef bourguignon, which is just a beef stew. And I like the chuck, but I like to take the chuck and cut it off in its natural separations. I want another boning knife.
You want this one?
You took mine.
I took yours. It was
But
the sharpest.
don't you think this is a good idea? Cutting it into its separations, because then they cook more evenly.
Yes. You cannot have a piece of meat which is too lean, too flat, like the piece of pot roast that I'm using here. For the beef burgundy would be dry. You need a piece of the shoulder like here, or then just below the shoulder, the chuck that you have here, or the shank. Any of those are very moist because the mixture that you see in the middle here is really gelatin. It gets like transparent and very gelatinous at the end, and that's very good.
Let's take the fat off.
Take the fat off.
This is all going to be brown too, so we'll brown out the fat.
Shall we start your fat?
All right. Now with this, we're going to brown it, but I'm going to do the classic way of browning it in some blanched salt pork or bacon, which is here. This is salt pork, but you want to get the salt out of it. So you drop it into boiling water for about 5 minutes, then drain it. I like that.
You want a bit of
oil. This gives a little, that little extra bit of flavor. And I think one of the reasons this is such a famous recipe, this beef bourguignon, is it has such a delicious flavor to it. And again, this is very easy to make as soon as you get through with the preliminaries.
Look at mine here.
Jacques?
It's brown on one side already.
Yeah,
nice.
lovely.
And again, because the heat transfer is pretty good, the pot is thick enough, and it gives me an equal heat, so I have nice crystallization of the juice, you know, of the sugar, and I want to brown that all around before we put the liquid. In the garnish of my pot roast, I'm going to put, for the time being, because first I cook it for a good 3-4 hours, very low oven, and after that I put the different vegetable in it. So, but to flavor the meat, I want a bit of onion, I want a couple of bay leaves, I put here, I want some fresh thyme, which I have there, and tomatoes. All of this is going to go in my pot roast. Now let's see. It's brown on the second side. I brown it here.
Jacques, I'm going to say that these are brown enough.
It's brown enough?
To brown the beef.
Oh, good.
Let's dry the beef off in paper towels there.
Yeah, it's pretty dry, huh?
Is it?
Yeah, we just cut it.
We need to salt and pepper it a little bit. Well, that can go right in here now.
Can you do it in one layer, you think?
I hope so. If not, we'll
not
do it in
overlap,
two.
because if it overlap, it starts
steam with us.
steaming rather than browning. So you have a place for another one here, another one here. That's it.
That's just enough.
Everything is easy.
If it just steams, all the juices start burning in it, and it's not doing what it should.
I'm putting your garnish in there then. The carrots, onion, a whole head of garlic, a couple of bay leaves, and a couple of pieces of thyme also.
Oh, you can see with mine here, I'm turning it over. And the browning of the meat gives flavor, and it also gives color.
Here we are.
And what's very nice about a stew is that you can brown all the meat one day while you're preparing dinner, and then you can simmer it the next day while you're eating dinner. People are always saying, oh, these stews, they take so long, but they don't, because you just do it in bits and pieces. And it makes wonderful eating, I think.
Okay, I am ready for my pot roast now. So I have, my meat has been browning all around. So now I'm going to add all of that stuff, other flavorful agent around. On top of this now, I'm putting 1.5 cups of white wine and 1/2 cup of water, just a little bit of water. Now I bring that to a boil.
That looks pretty.
I have to put some salt around. Sometimes even in there I put a calf's feet or a pig feet, and that gives you some gelatin and all that. It's nice, but you know, you can do that. I bring that to a boil, put that in a 300-degree oven for like 3 to 4 hours until it gets tender. Then at that point I'll take it out and put the vegetable.
And at that point you don't really have to survey it at all while it's cooking.
You don't have to do anything now. So
you just leave it by itself.
I think it should go into the oven now. We're doing pretty well here.
I'm going to say this is nicely browned all over. And at that point, it's time to put in your brown little pieces of lardo. And we want...
You want all your seasoning in there? And your red wine?
Yeah.
You put red wine in your blue wine?
Oh, yeah.
Here we are.
We just want it practically a bottle.
Okay. We need a lid on top of this.
I'm also going to put in, we have some delicious stock.
You see that, a brown chicken stock.
Which we've been using for everything.
Yes.
I'll put a tomato in there.
Oh, yes.
And that just goes in.
We cover it, and how long do you cook this?
At least 2 hours.
Yes, I would say, yeah, 2 to
maybe
3
3
hours, you know, slowly.
Depends on the quality of the meat.
But you don't really want it to boil it a lot. You want it to simmer it very, very gently so it doesn't touch on the meat.
Just moving like that. Well, those are the preliminaries. Not too difficult.
Well, I just took that pot roast out of the oven, and as I say, it's pretty tender. I still have to cook it with the vegetable, you know, and put it back in the oven.
That sauce
like
looks
3 hours.
Sauce looks pretty nice.
Looks great. But first, I want to do another dish, and that dish is made with leftover mashed potato that I have here. We're doing a gratin we call a pomme mondeur. So I put the leftover mashed potato. I have about 5 cups of leftover mashed potato here. And I'm going to put 3 eggs in it. Directly in there. We're going to do a gratin with this. Kind of soufflé gratin. Very easy to do. Here, I'm going to put some pepper. Maybe a dash of salt. And about half a cup of grated Gruyere cheese about. Then I'll make this. Second. That's it. And now we're going to put that in a gratin dish. And I like to put the gratin dish directly on a cookie sheet, don't you?
No.
You don't?
No.
Well,
but it's nice to have it on.
If there is spillage, then it goes into your oven.
Oh.
My wife will never go for it.
I will never have any spillage.
Of course.
No.
So we put a little bit of butter. You're not against that, right? And then I'll put my gratin right on this. It's a nice way
kind of a
using
little potato souffle.
Yeah, it's a nice way of using leftover potato, you know. So we just put that in there.
Well, that's certainly easy to do.
Yes, it is, and it's a good way of using, as I say, your leftover mashed potato and a little bit of Swiss cheese on top. You put it like that in the oven.
Well, that's nice to have.
Yes, so I'm putting that around 400 degrees. It will take like 30 minutes, you know, at least. So here we go.
Now let's discuss these onions.
Yes.
These are these little onions about 1.25 inches, and I always pierce a little cross in the root end to help prevent them from bursting while they cook. You don't do that.
I don't do that.
And then that's probably, these are yours where the little end has come out, because you haven't pierced them.
The little end comes out. So here...
And then for easy peeling, I always drop them into a pan of boiling water, boil them exactly 10 seconds, and they peel very, very easily. And then I put them in a pan here with a little bit of beef stock and butter, and now...
And a bit of sugar.
A little bit of sugar for them to glaze.
Because they're going to glaze now, right? You cook them covered for 3-4 minutes, it gets them a bit tender, then you remove the lid, and they cook down. By then, they cooked and glazed. Look at that. Boy, they are starting to glaze.
And then we're going to put the mushrooms on top of them. I'm following your directions.
No, I'm following. This is your recipe.
No,
And then what happened with the beef?
Now, what we want to do is we want to remove this ugly-looking package of vegetables, which is presumably going to give a wonderful taste.
Should we press this a little bit? Okay, that's good. So like that, we don't have to strain it.
You want to make sure that the beef is tender, which I would always say take out a piece. And that's more than tender. That'll be delicious, I think.
Yeah, it's very tender.
And now it's time to finish it off.
What do you want to thicken it with? Cornstarch or beurre manier?
Beurre manier is more stable, isn't it? Cornstarch can break down. Well, let's do a beurre manier.
Okay.
A beurre manier is a way of thickening a sauce, and very convenient because it's fast. It's just about equal amounts of butter and flour stirred together, and then add a bit of your hot liquid. And this is what you might call an emergency thickening, but it works very nicely. You don't want to thicken too much with it because it
That goes back
turns
in.
things white. Then this has to come to the boil again. That looks lovely, Jacques. Can you see
Going
that?
to
See,
glaze
the
a little more, yeah?
onions are brown just a little bit, and that looks perfectly delicious. Yes, that's about right, I would think.
Yes, we see that
Now let's put our onions and mushrooms in.
the thickening is
And then taste
about right, huh?
That's about right, I think.
You want to put those in there?
Yes, just dump them in, I think. That looks very nice. That's a good way of doing it.
Okay, all of it is in there.
This can be done ahead and reheated. As a matter of fact, it's
Probably
very often
yeah.
better.
Yeah.
And taste very carefully. It should be delicious.
Can I taste too?
Please taste. That's good. Could you have the juices from the onions in there?
Delicious.
I'll just turn that off.
It really tastes delicious, you know, but you mind if I put just a little bit of red wine at the end?
If it
Just
don't ruin it, because it's so good.
No, you know,
It's
just a
a
little bit like this.
Okay, that's to give it.
Yes,
the
it will
wine
give it a kind of winey taste at the end. I like it. And you know what? I'm going to taste that with my... Did you see that spoon like that? This is a tasting
did.
spoon. You do this and you taste
Oh, now that's a good
on
idea.
this side. So you
So
can
that
use
you
this
don't
again.
have to keep washing
Yeah.
it.
Have
Very
you ever
good
seen a
idea.
tasting spoon?
I've never seen one like that.
It didn't ruin it, right? Give it just a little bit
No,
more
it's
of red
very
wine.
nice. You could even put a tiny bit more in, I think.
A tiny bit more here. Yes, I'm with you. Okay.
That's
Not
it.
much, because you don't want really to have a taste of raw wine at
No.
the end, but it gives it a little bit of a hurt, and in fact the color even improves slightly. So I think now we're ready to serve this, but I'm going to finish first the pot roast.
Well,
the
that's
vegetable
mighty
with
good,
the pot
that
roast.
stew. Because I
And-
think it's because everything reduced properly.
Yes, because it cooked a long time very slowly. I have a large white turnips here, you know.
That's a very big one.
That's a big
And
one.
it isn't punky inside,
Well,
which is
we're going
unusual.
to find out. I'm going to open it, but frankly, when I find smaller one, I like to use more the smaller one. No, it's pretty firm.
That
Look at
looks
that.
okay.
But it does smell stronger than the small one.
Well, it should.
Yeah.
I like a
So one,
strong
two.
turnip.
3, 4, well, 5 or 6, 8 pieces of turnips. I will have plenty here. So my pot roast is there. The onion, those are bigger than yours, you know, and
Yes,
I would
they are.
count, you know, a couple of onions, 2, 3 at the most. That this is the time where I put all of my vegetable because it has another at least good hours to cook. Bunch of carrots here.
Those are naturally baby carrots.
Yeah, those are baby carrot, and you can actually even put potato if you want. You can put other type of vegetable.
And you
But-
got your peas.
At that point, the peas I put it at the end when I serve them, you know. And this will go into the oven, 300 degree again, for like an hour, hour and a half. I think my pot roast is finally cooked.
Ooh,
Look
that
at
looks nice.
Yes, with a lot of
I
vegetable.
love the smell of all those
Yeah,
vegetables.
and this is tender, you know.
Oh, good.
So,
So how long did that take?
well, like close to
About
5 hours altogether.
5
you know.
hours.
And if I want to put some peas, if you want to, a bit of color, you put them at the end for a few minutes. Of course, in the oven, they would get too dark.
Yes.
Likewise, too, if you want to thicken the sauce, then I like to use a bit of potato starch, you know?
Yeah.
You want to give me a drop of white wine in there? You always have to dilute your starch with a liquid.
Okay.
In the case of Aru, you have the butter, which does the effect. But otherwise, if you put hot liquid on that starch, it will seize and you'll have nice little dumpling all over the place, which you don't want.
that.
So there, as I put it in that liquid here, it thickens on contact. So I stir it there. See, it gets much thicker right away. So this is a nice way of finishing it up, you know. That's it. And I would leave it just like this. I had enough. And maybe what I should do is to carve some of that.
Oh, yes.
So we'll have that. It's really a... How do you see? The meat does shrink considerably, but...
Then one thing think too, it carves easier if it's cooled off a little bit, hasn't it? And then,
Yes, probably.
And you can cool it off and reheat it, and it'll
absolutely. This you
carve
leave it
very nicely, I think.
So I'm going to put it on the big platter here. This is the type of dish that you love with a big platter, right?
Mm.
And here, Sunday.
Smells like beef.
Yes. And I'll take a little bowl like this.
You could say this was family style because you can get this all done in the kitchen. And
yes, and
you could put that on a buffet.
serve that in the dining room, you know, or on the buffet. It's always
I like those nice big vegetables.
have appetizing, you know. The vegetable will have a tendency to break down. We cook about an hour after I put the vegetable in it, you know. This is about it. Put a little bit of parsley on top. And
That
here
looks
we are.
delicious. Now we have
the beef burgundy. And I have a couple of some noodles for you.
Oh, good.
Shall I give it to you now?
Yes, let's put the noodles on the plate first.
Just plain buttered noodles. Salt, pepper, that's it. Want to make a little
A
nest
little butter.
out of it here for your noodle. Those are wide noodles, you know. They look good.
There are the mushrooms and the onions. I think we need a little parsley on.
Yes, well, we're going to put the crouton around.
That's right. That's a delicious sauce. Nothing like good beef, is there?
Okay, shall we put a few
I
croutons?
liked your idea. What did you do? You dipped it.
You have to dip them in the
Dipped
sauce
in the
there.
sauce, and I think
You put them in the parsley.
that's a very nice idea. That really dresses it up nicely.
Yeah. Yes, beautiful. I have the gratin of potato. Okay. Here, I'll give it to you. Watch out, it's very hot. We could serve maybe a beef burgundy like this with some of the potato around. What do you think? Be a bit different. Here, in fact, you see the sauce even better, you know? You want to put some potato next to it? Watch out, the pot is hot. This is hot.
This is a very nice idea. I think I'll put a few
This thing of parsley.
parsley on the side. That's your green vegetable for today.
That look absolutely terrific.
That looks so good. I think we ought to toast it ourselves.
I would
done
think
it.
we're talking about a symphony of taste today. We started by cooking in concert and having a symphony of so many different tastes. And those are very delicate, muted tastes. You know, they work well together. The wine,
Really beefy.
the onion, beefy.
Now, where's your wine?
I'm ready for the wine. A little bit, you want something which really stand up to the beef here. We have a Cabernet Sauvignon here, dark Cabernet, which I love. So I think I will toast you on that one and tell you how happy I am to cook with you.
Bon appetit.
And happy cooking.
And I will toast you, Jacques. Le
Thank you.
maître.
Good.
For more information about Julia and Jacques, visit us at alacartetv.com. Julia Child and Jacques Pepin, one of television's most beloved duos, have created this award-winning cookbook. Julia and Jacques Cooking at Home, containing more than 400 pages of recipes and 328 full-color pictures. To order, call 1-800-798-2433. Also available, the complete 22-episode series, 11 hours of Julia and Jacques on DVD, $29.95. Major funding is provided by
In This Bottle of Beringer, a 125-year commitment to making great wine. From the only winery ever to win Wine of the Year for both a Cabernet and a Chardonnay. In this glass, the perfect complement to your own special moments, whatever they happen to be. Beringer, all we are in every bottle.
by OXO Good Grips. From kitchen to cleaning to gardening. OXO, makers of innovative products that make everyday living easier. OXO, tools you hold on to. By Land O'Lakes, where simple goodness begins.
All-Clad is bonded construction. All-Clad is innovative design. All-Clad is professional equipment. All-Clad is a state of mind.
We at All-Clad are honored to be in the kitchen with two of the world's most celebrated chefs, Julia Child and Jacques Pepin.
A presentation of KQED San Francisco.